Today I'm doing an Everton rebuild. Now the aim of a rebuild is normally to have clear progression in the club. That'd either be promotions, winning a trophy, or just much higher league finishes. For the rebuild today, I'm going to give myself 5 years to either win a Premier League or a Champions League. So that is the cut-off point. If I did not win a Premier League or a Champions League in those 5 years, I've failed the rebuild. Just before I start, shout out to Omega Luke and Jared HD. Because I think Jared HD was the first guy to do this in FIFA and Omega Luke was the first guy to do this in FM. Anyway, looking at Fabian Delph, I think I need to do some transfers. Okay, so the first window is over and I wasn't really able to shift the players I wanted to shift. And the original transfer budget was saying like 2 million. So these transfers, I'll be honest, aren't great, but I think they're fine for the money I had. Something I want to show you which influenced some of my transfers is that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is injured from 2 to 3 months. Also, for the tactic, I'm playing this diamond. Anyway, the first window's transfers from most expensive to least, starting off with Sidibe, 6 million, a lot of that's in installments. I think I paid like 2 or 3 up front. He's not brilliant, but he can play fullback both sides and he's decent enough. So I just thought, good cover. I think he's starting right back because Seamus Coleman, it's either him or Seamus Coleman. I think for now I prefer him, but yeah, decent signing. Next up is Yilmaz. This was originally just meant to be like my third striker because I didn't really like Rondon, and I was just looking through like strikers who are fairly cheap, and Yilmaz is definitely the best one I think I could have got in. Because you look at, obviously, the massive downside, he's 36. But the off the ball and the finishing I really like. And then the physicals are actually pretty decent. They will start decreasing fairly quick. But for now, Yilmaz, good enough striker. Next up, we have Oliver Skip, who I think it's a 6 million loan fee. And then the option to buy is 24 million. I mean, Oliver Skip got very good potential in this game. It was kind of just a no-brainer. Because we're probably going to have decent budget next year. So just like get him in the bag. And next up on loan, we probably have the worst player I brought in. It's Carlos Bacca. Who, I mean, back in this day was pretty good. But if we look here, yeah, it's not brilliant. The loan says regular starter. It's definitely not going to be. But I don't really care if he gets recalled in January, so I was fine just lying. I mean, he's not even terrible. The 11 pace is not great. The off the ball and the finishing, which is what I want in like an advanced forward, those two things are fairly good. But yeah, there are all the transfers in. For transfers out, if I sort by date, the only one I did was check Tossa. But yeah, that's this season's business. Let's go to the end of the year and see how the boys do. Hey there, this percentage of people who watch the videos aren't subscribed. So if you enjoy the videos, make sure to subscribe so you know when they come out. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the video. Now, end of the first year, we've had a very good time of it. Third place on 79 points. I think that's always important to take account of is what your actual points are. Because let's say in the past I've got 4th on like 60 something points and like 66. That's not a brilliant year, but 79 points is always going to be enough for Champions League, so that's a good year. At least that's how I look at it. One man who was a very big part in this season, Luca Digne. I always thought it was Digne, and I can't remember the other but there's another pronunciation. I'm not really sure anymore, but Big Luke, very good. 9 player of the matches in 30 games. That's good. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, when he hit the field, was pretty good. Scoring pretty much 1 and 2. I think he had the highest average rating. It's either him or Digne, I can't remember. A nice little signing we did in January was Dani Ceballos. You look here, 6.7 million, a fine average rating. But you may wonder, because I was completely out of money going into January, where have you got that from? Where I got the money from was Decore went to Newcastle. Now, if you've played this year's FM, you know, negotiating with Newcastle, you just go, I want all the money, they go alright. So if we look at history here, 52 million. Now, Decore was actually very good for us. I mean, if you look here, you'd think he would be, because of the work rate, those physicals, and decent enough technicals. That's the type of player in FM where you go, he's going to be good, especially in my system, which is quite high pressing. But at 29, I don't know if he was 52 million good. And comparing him to Dani Ceballos, he's a lot better physically, but Ceballos is better technically, which is about what you would expect. But I think for like what, a 40 plus million like profit, and I knew we were going to get Europe, so I was like, okay, we just get a stopgap in Ceballos for now, and then when we like have continental football, better players will want to come. Oh yeah, and also we were rubbish in the cup competitions. But with all that out of the way, let's go and see what business I do this summer with continental football and nearly 40 million in the bank. Now, a summer of business has been done, and I think it's gone pretty well. Starting off, I brought in Declan Rice. Always turns into a brilliant player. Already is pretty damn good. Yeah, this is just a player we can just have in the team for the whole rebuild. And this is the type of player I want to start bringing in. Is like ones who is like, okay, yeah, you're fine if when we win the Premier League, like you can be in that team. So yeah, it was what, 63 million for him. That probably wasn't all up front. Now we have Big Seb, who has a last name. He's big, strong centre back, 16 strength, 15 pace, very nice on the physicals, about 30 million for him. We kind of just needed another centre back in, and I was looking around, there weren't brilliant options. This seemed to be the best one out there. Now here, the next signing, Nunes, 24 million in from Sporting. This is probably the Decore replacement, can play all the same positions as Decore. And where Decore was playing was this centre mid attack, so that's where he is. But yeah, another very good player I've brought in. And now the last big signing, Raul Jimenez. Now Raul Jimenez was only like 10 million from Newcastle. If you look here, he was 40 million plus a player to Newcastle. So why have Newcastle sold him so cheap? Newcastle in the Championship. I didn't really mention this last time because I didn't really think about it. I knew they had gone down. I just kind of saw it. I was like, yeah, no, they've gone down. But obviously, them going down and the money they spent in the summer before, they had quite a lot of like cheaper talent, but like quite a few of those players they were like bidding wars over, so they'd end up going back to like about like a fair price. But Jimenez, we were like the only ones in for him, so we got him at that like what, 11 million. Very nice. That 18 work rate, great for this pressing system. Good player. Now he is the Yilmaz replacement who actually retired. I think Yilmaz got about like 9 goals in the season. A lot of appearances off the bench, did well. I don't think I showed you him. Now the other two signings I made was Loris Karius on a free, just needed another backup keeper, and then Trevor Chalobah on loan, just cover at centre back. Now looking at the sales, you may have seen it already, I sold Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which has funded most of this window. He went to United for 82 million. Like, as good as Calvert-Lewin is, I don't think he was good enough to justify keeping when like the bids were that high. It does leave us a bit thin at striker. I was trying to find another striker like Raul Jimenez, but I couldn't find one that really made sense, so I was fine just not buying one. The other transfers out, Tom Davies, Andros Townsend, Seamus Coleman. Oh, also Begovic left on a free, which is why we needed Loris Karius. But yeah, those are this summer's transfers. I'm going to go through, simulate all this season and see how we are doing. Now it has come to the end of the season and we did about as well as last year really. 4th place, 73 points, which is less. Only a point above Arsenal. So, you know, cutting it a bit tight. But yeah, like another just decent season. I mean, I say decent. I think Everton haven't had Champions League. Well, no, they got 4th under Moyes in like, what, 2004. But I don't... Because Liverpool won the Champions League, it wasn't Champions League, I think. Very big success, understating it slightly. Now I've simulated through, like, into pre-season pretty much, but someone we did bring in was Iago Aspas. So I mean, like at 36, we brought him in on loan. He's fine. Again, like the physical is like Carlos Bacca pretty much 2.0. Physicals weren't really there. It's quite a big wage, so they are happy just for us to pay it for like, what, half a year. But yeah, 4 starts, 9 sub appearances. Just gave us an actual 3rd striker, which we need when we play 2 up top. Raul Jimenez was probably signing of the season. Again, like only 11 million and 18 goals in 34 games. Luca Digne again with his set piece is probably our best player. Again, another campaign, like 7 man of the match awards. Got a few more goals because I think he covered at centre back a few times. So obviously off the corners when he wasn't taking them and it was a right footer. I hadn't changed it, so he was going up for the headers. And considering the lack of games he was up, like he was at centre back, 3 goals was pretty decent. Outside of that, I want to mention Ben Godfrey. Played a decent amount of right back, which this reckons is his best position. Mainly actually played centre back for me, and has started to play this DM role. But he had 2 seasons at like a low 7. Very good. I love these physicals. For me, this is like any position, these physicals, it's just like what I want. But yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. Let me go and do a summary of business and update you on how the squad's looking. Hey there, Editing Sam here, just to say I didn't mention how we did in the Champions League. So if you were wondering, we went out in the quarterfinal to Bayern Munich. Anyway, back to the actual video. Okay, so I've done another summer of business, and I think this is pretty good. Starting off, the biggest signing, Wesley Fofana, 99 million. Just again, another one of these players which we can take until we win a Champions League or a Prem. Again, I think probably like 40 million of that was probably up front, so paid this year. But yeah, just a very good centre-back. Probably the best centre-back for the rest of the rebuild. Next up, I brought in Juan Musso. If you look here, it's a very, very good shot stopper. With the 16 one-on-ones, 18 reflexes, very good. Pickford wasn't like bad or anything, but I just felt like we needed to go like a level up. And Musso was like the best keeper I could bring in. Manor Solomon, hopefully I'm saying that right. From Israel, I think he's Shakhtar. Yeah, he's playing at Shakhtar. 55 million, again, probably only 30 up front. And I was wondering whether or not to bring him in because he's like a very good player. And like the 18 passing, the 17 dribbling, like very good. But he could only really play in this attacking mid spot for me. I was wondering, do I bring, and then I did, because he's quite good at football. Now we have Jordan, is it Varau? I can't remember how you say his name. Or Varau? No, wait. Because I know he was at Villa for a bit. But I haven't heard anyone say his name in time, so I genuinely just don't know how to say his name. Yeah, he's probably going to play like a lot, centre mid, like on attack. And the 16 off the ball really helps with that. Because that is like a fairly high goal scoring position in the system. Yeah, no, very good passer of the ball. Not really bad at anything. Good player. Now here we have one which kind of hurt a bit. 30 million for Gabriel Barbosa. When I said I couldn't really get that third striker in after Dominic Calvert-Lewin left, I tried to get in Gabriel Barbosa, but he went like, nah mate, want to go Chelsea? So you can see here, only 10 million. If you look here, Gabriel Barbosa, Gabigol, like very good, like, well not very, but like good at everything technically. Like 15 first touch, 15 finishing, 15 dribbling. It's like physically he's like fairly strong, but he's also like quite quick. And then he has that 18 off the ball, which I really like. So yeah, Gabriel Barbosa, good striker. Just wish I had him a year earlier, and also didn't have to pay an extra 20 million. Now another striker I brought in, Odsonne Edouard. Good signing, probably going to play this cam position quite a lot. Again, another one with like quite a well-rounded game. He's not like just a finisher. A bit slower than my normal striker, but like he's not slow. And again, the work rate's a bit low for my striker, but what was it? Like 26 million. Yeah, I was happy to pay 26 million for Edouard. Next up, we have Yves Bissouma. Again, the work rate and stamina I really like. And then can play this DM role. So it gives us the option to play Declan Rice more at centre mid on box to box. Also, just 25 million, I think fairly good deal. Can't be too upset with that. Next up, I kind of just needed like more cover at centre mid. So I brought in Granit Xhaka. Like, isn't brilliant. I mean, for what, 8 million, he's a fine squad player. I've played like 30 games the last 2 years. So clearly like a decent Premier League option. Yeah, I mean, very good technicals. It's just like the physicals kind of are starting to let him down. But yeah, no, like I'm happy to put Granit Xhaka in midfield. So like it's a fine option. The final few transfers is Perez, who's like a wonder kid I brought in. Probably never actually going to see him in the rebuild, but he just came up on a scout report. I was like, well, he'll do me. Ricardo Rodriguez can play left back. We needed another left back. Not very good. I mean, it says he's like terrible here. He seems fine. And then Liam Delap just needed another option at striker. Just cheap loan. Now with the sales going out, 90 million for Richarlison. Again, it's like Dominic Calvert-Lewin last summer. If the fee's that high, I'm just going to accept it for a player like that. Because he's not like a Richarlison is just a bit below like the world class player I'd want up top. Also, that's another thing. I kind of, with the diamond, I had to play him up front instead of out wide, which I don't think he's as good at. So yeah, 90 million, of course I'm taking that. Then Damari Gray left for 26 million is another thing where, like, I like Damari Gray in the squad, but he's a winger, and like he could only really play cam. So for 26 million, he wasn't like brilliant. Yeah, I was happy to take it. Moise Keane, that's arranged like well before, like when you start the save. It's like a 2-year loan, and then this goes through. It's like a nice boost to the budgets. Yerry Mina and Michael Keane, just for signing a few centre-backs. Need to let a few centre-backs go. Then Gabamian and Gomez left. Gomez didn't play an awful lot. 17 the first year, so like a decent amount. And then only 5 appearances last year. And Gabamian actually played quite a lot. It's just with Yves Bissouma coming in, the only place he really got in was at this DM spot with the 17 tackling. But with Yves Bissouma in the squad, I don't think he's going to get a look in. You look at 28 and 26 appearances. So yeah, as I said, got a decent amount of football. Anyway, I think right now we've got a very decent squad. If I just pick what is probably the first choice squad for you. Oh, a signing I didn't show you. I guess it was showing in like last year's signing. Pedro Porro, my kind of right back. Very technically gifted. He doesn't really get the whole defending thing, but neither do I, so that's fine. 24 million from City. Yeah, very happy to bring him in at right back. But yeah, this is probably what my best 11 looks like. I'm not sure so far whether it's Godfrey over Sebastian with a last name or vice versa. And then up front, I'm not sure out of Jimenez Barbosa and Edward. I think Jimenez is my pressing forward because of his work rate. I'm not sure. I think it might be Barbosa first choice. But then I'm also very happy. I've done this a couple of times already. I'm very happy to do this. Basically, we've got a very good squad. Let's see how it does this year. Now, we've come to the end of this year. Again, 3rd in the Premier League. The problem I'm having here is that Liverpool are hitting 90 points every year. And that just seems pretty hard to catch. Top stats, Edward, 24 goals. Pretty decent. If we come to competitions here, we won the Champions League. Yeah, no, we're just keeping that under the hood. We won the Champions League. It was 1-0 over Man United in the final. So first of all, the group stage, we went 5 wins, 1 draw, because Real Madrid aren't very good, and then Shakhtar and PSV, not brilliant. Yeah, Real Madrid are like pretty bad on this. Then if I get up a tree from there, first round we beat Nice 5-3 on aggregate. That was like a fairly easy draw. Then PSG 3-2, and like PSG are normally like the best team. Like after a couple, or even at the beginning of the game, they're just the best team because they have infinite money. Then we had Liverpool, so I think we won the first leg to that 3-1, and then we lost 2-1, and then we beat Man United 1-0. So that's it. That's the end of the rebuild because we won the Champions League. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I've been Magna FM, and goodbye.